What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another installment of Lyles Figure Files. Let's talk about that HasLab G.I. Joe Classified Series HissTank. A record setter for HasLab, knocked out, fully funded within the first 12 hours. Now we're on to tier 3. It's crazy how fast this thing is moving. There's still 43 more days left, and we're knocking on the door to tier 4. So right now we've got the missile rack. We've got the retro canopy, retro treads, the Hiss gunner, the Hiss tactician. We're going to get a few more weapons, a few more guns, turrets for the HissTank. And we still got another tier to go. This has been nuts, but maybe not so nuts if you've been a G.I. Joe fan and you've been patiently waiting ever since Marvel Legends debuted. And then you saw the Star Wars Black Series bring out these incredible 6-inch figures of Star Wars. And probably for a lot of old collectors like me, you got Star Wars when it first started, when before vintage collection was a thing, when Kenner was making these figures, and you had all these great vehicles to put them in. You had G.I. Joes come out not too long after that, and they had great vehicles to put them in. So watching these Star Wars Black Series figures and then a few vehicles coming out, it's like, well, what about G.I. Joe? Never got G.I. Joe. And these figures have been really good. They've been really, really good. I am so excited to have so many of these guys in my collection. There's so many more great figures to come. But there was that missing element of vehicles. We got the Ram Cycle. We got Baroness's cool bike. But it was kind of this thing of, and what else? With the HissTank, we finally got that answer to what else. And it unlocks so much more. And Emily and Lenny of that Joe team on Hasbro said, hey, basically this is going to open up so many more doors. We're going to see more vehicles, options at retail through Hasbro Pulse and definitely the annual HasLab. And it's not just the fact that it was funded, but how quickly it was funded. And you know, with only 4 tiers announced, they said when they did roundtable interviews with YouTubers and different websites that they're not sure if they're going to have a 5th tier, but knocking out 4 tiers with 40 days, let's say, to go, definitely sends a strong message to the Joe team, definitely sends a strong message to Hasbro of this big time demand for G.I. Joe Cobra vehicles. Of course, that was such a major play pattern with G.I. Joe, that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. But I think having that cold evidence of, hey, this G.I. Joe project was funded all the way with every tier with a month left to go. And I doubt it's even going to take that long. Maybe 37 days before it's done, fully funded. I kind of feel like the Joe team should scramble to add a 5th tier just as a special bonus. They need a suggestion. How about tacking in 2 Cobra officers or Cobra troopers? Or a mix. You can choose between any 4 Cobra army builders. So you could pair up a Cobra trooper and an Alley Viper, or a Bat and a Cobra officer, or a red and blue ninja. Just something to throw it in there. There's no new sculpting, not even any repaint necessary. Just using the existing molds, the entire accessory thing. They're already boxed up. All these figures that come with the HissTank are going to get boxed anyway, so it's not like any special thing is needed. Just as a special, hey, you guys rock. Thanks for supporting the brand so much. We didn't think we needed any special tiers, and you guys are just knocked it all the way out. So here's 2 more figures for you. I think looking at these tiers are kind of interesting because I was totally bashing Hasbro's Star Wars team for lackluster tiers. I felt that the Rancor getting a backdrop was so lame. Another tier with skulls. Come on, guys. And then if I took for the 3rd and 4th tiers for some exciting options. And it was like, okay, that's cool, but where's the Gamorrean Guard duo? Where's the Dancer? And, you know, all this other stuff. And it just felt like what we got was super lame. And I'm not quite sure if I feel like the HissTank offerings are lame. We do get 2 new figures. We get that Hiss Tactician, and we're going to get the Hiss Gunner. This is going to be the first Cobra female operative that's not a name figure like Baroness or Zorana. So that's kind of interesting and cool. But I think I wanted to see just some other character thrown in the mix just for fun. Maybe a Crystal Ball or just something, you know, just another character to throw in there. Maybe a Cobra Commander in retro colors with a retro style, so we don't have to go to Walmart or whatever and buy that later. I think that would be a perfectly acceptable other option for tier 4. This totally sends a message that the floor is wide open. Everybody wants these vehicles. And I think with this option, with the HasLab being such a rousing, smashing success, that Hasbro can go, okay, well, if they bought this, then maybe we can take some of these figures to retail and say, listen, we've got these hard numbers. The Joe collector base wants vehicles. You know, shocking, from back in the 80s, kids bought vehicles with their G.I. Joes, and they still want to now that they're grown adults. And that's definitely the case. And of course, with the Hasbro Pulse option, like we saw with Jabba's Palace, that was a $200 offering. And I don't know the numbers because it's not a HasLab. They don't need the hardcore funding with the window. They're just making it, and people are going to buy it, of course. But I think there's such a big option for so many projects. You know, not just the HasLab, not that 1 year vehicle we get, but smaller scale stuff that makes sense. Clearly the Vamp needs to be in this conversation. A Wolverine, a Bridge Layer, Skyhawk, Armadillo. You've heard me talk about these vehicles several times now, but it should be a reality now, because we showed all of us who invested in this HISS tank that we want these things, we want these vehicles, keep them coming to us, Hasbro. And so let's talk about some other things with that round table. Sergeant Slaughter, like every other thing, is not going to be for sale at San Diego Comic-Con. You'll be able to buy that figure on Hasbro Pulse, and I would totally assume as to not set a massive pitchfork riot online with people not being able to buy their Sergeant Slaughter for their classified series. They're going to have an abundant supply, even beyond the Premium Pulse members, because Sergeant Slaughter is one of those key integral figures in G.I. Joe figure lore. So we need him, and they need to just make sure that he's widely available to everyone who wants him. A sellout for Sarge is not a win for Hasbro, because if he sells out and people can't get him, then they have to rely on scalpers and people who are like, yo, I'm going to buy 2 of Sarge so I can sell him for $400. That's not a good look. And I think they just need to accommodate and make sure everybody who wants one can get them. Next up, we got the final 2 members revealed for Yojo June, even though it was in July at that point. But we're getting Dreadnought Ripper. Very cool. I was a little surprised we didn't get Road Pig, since he's more of a solo Dreadnought, not as closely related to some of the other ones like Torch, Ripper, Buzzer. The 3 of them are like the 3 amigos of the Dreadnoughts. Thrasher, Xandar, Zorana, Monkey Wrench, that foursome. I think Zanzibar would be an interesting choice. Now, maybe he's an option for a vehicle guy, because his air skiff chariot should be sort of similar to, you know, what we could get at retail. He just needs a seat elevated deal that you could probably put together and assemble. But there are lots of Dreadnoughts, so I'm surprised they went with Ripper, and he's going to be kind of waiting on the rest of them. That's going to definitely be setting that demand in for Torch and Buzzer for me, because like, yo, you got one, now I need the rest of Zartan's punching bags ASAP. So that's really exciting. Looking forward to seeing what he looks like. We're also getting a retro Firefly. They didn't really say it in those words, but I assume that an additional Firefly is not that garish green and gray nightmarish outfit, but more of a streamlined old school Firefly. And I think for him, I will definitely double dip and get the retro version as well. I always loved his outfit, him and Storm Shadow being in the same wave. They look so cool. They kind of look like clashing Cobra agents. But yeah, I want to see that one as well. So there's so much to be excited about with this brand. So much in the future coming. And you know, we already got these cool things. And I got one more reveal for you all, myself. The box finally arrived after months, literally months, almost a year. But now I can join the cool club crew, because now I've got Crocmaster. And yeah, this bad boy looks great. Finally getting a chance to see this rear packaging. It looks really cool. I want a poster of this, maybe a t-shirt, because I shouldn't be wearing Star Wars shirts during these G.I. Joe episodes. But yeah, looking forward to opening him, putting a full review up on Lyle's movie files. But yeah, really excited about him. Looking forward to seeing Tier 4 any day now, and hopefully news on some extra bonus we can get, because it's going to be really boring rest of this HasLab project with nothing new coming from Hasbro with the G.I. Joe HISS tank. So hopefully they add in a 5th tier just as like, hey, we need another bonus and something to keep everybody engaged for the next month. But anyway, that's all I got on this one. Thank you so much. Let me know if you're still interested in backing this, if you backed it, how many HISS tanks you've got. Very curious. There's a limit of 5, a maximum of 5, and if you got all 5, I'm very curious to see your HISS tank army when they arrive next year. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. This episode of Lyles Figure Files has been filed.